good evening, everyone, amazing human beings and residents. So today we are here to honor the Filipino community within our larger community in connection to AAPI Heritage Month. And so the intention behind this session, which is connected to a greater series, is to make sure that we're honoring the collective society and not just looking at our AAPI community as a monolith, as one thing. Because we have a wealth of experience, a wealth of ethnicities and cultures that contribute to the greater Howard County culture. And so this is one part of a greater thing, and I hope that you are ready to join us for this journey. And so I'm going to actually be fading into the background. I'm going to kind of be curating. You'll probably see me every night, but not a lot. I will try to fade into the background as much as possible because it's not about me. And so the intention is to make sure that anything that might be happening, if you have any questions or anything, I'm going to be in the background making sure that you get those questions answered. If you have any technical difficulties, I'm going to try to fix those. Other than that, everything that you need to know is not going to come from me. And so at this time, what I want to do before I shift gears, I think it's very important for us to watch a video from our county executive who wants to make sure that we have an understanding from his perspective of what this is all about and why we want to support it and continue to do things like this in the future. And so if you'll bear with me, I am going to pull up this in screen share. So I'm going to take myself off video. This will be probably the last time you see me until the end. All right. Here we go.
In honor of Asian American and Pacific Islander Month, I would like to welcome you to the Office of Human Rights and Equity's AAPI Heritage Month celebration. During the last year, AAPI communities have endured an increase of violence, hate speech, and persecution due to fear, ignorance, and a lack of genuine connection and understanding. We have a responsibility to ensure that all of our residents are and feel safe, respected, and treated with dignity that we all deserve. This month and beyond, we reflect upon the historic and current contributions of our AAPI brothers and sisters. This event will provide entertainment, education, and a genuine way for us to learn more about our AAPI community. Participating in this event are community members and organizations that have a desire to share a piece of their culture to enrich our collective culture. Please join us as we continue to grow, learn, laugh, work, and play as a unified community. Thank you.
Right. Sorry, my mouse was acting a little weird there. It wouldn't move. All right. So at this time, I feel like that was a perfect way of segueing us into our experience. And to start off, I want to actually shift things to Angela to make sure you have a chance to orient us as well from the county perspective. And then after that, we'll be kicking it off to our first presenter.
Thanks so much, Trent. Good evening, everyone. Magandang gabi and mabuhay. I am also a fellow Pinay, and I love to see my Pinay and Pinoy leaders here on tonight's event, as well as know that many AAPI community members and residents are engaging with us tonight. I just wanted to also add to the welcome on behalf of the county executive and be here personally and let you know how important it is as Filipino Americans to really show our activism and our pride. As the first Chief Innovation Officer in the county, the highest Asian American Pacific Islander in the executive branch, you know, we have to show how proud and the contributions that we've had, not just in history, but even in every day. And so I wanted to welcome our speakers and say how amazing our speakers are tonight and also just give a heartfelt welcome to you, because that is the Filipino way, right? We dance, we eat, but at the end of the day too, we are all familia. So thank you, salamat, and I'll turn it over to you. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very much for this opportunity. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Asian Pacific and Asian American and Pacific Islander Month celebration sponsored by the Howard County Office of Human Rights and Equity. First of all, I'm very grateful that you invited us here, and I'm especially grateful that you have realized that not all of us are a monolith, as you mentioned, Trent. Even among the three panelists, you will notice that we come from different regions in the Philippines. We speak different dialects and all that. So even Filipinos are not a monolith. So magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. And I am your host. I'm Mary Ann Alabanza Akers. I'm a Filipino immigrant. I came to the United States in 1984 to pursue my graduate studies in urban planning, and I have since found work as a faculty member and academic administrator in various universities. So tonight we are excited to share with you the multifaceted nature of our Filipino heritage. We will cover topics like history, cultural dances, food, arts, and some of our cultural traits. I have curated many videos that will show the many flavors of Filipino culture. I have, I've never done this, but I've curated and I've reviewed at least 30 different videos because I really wanted this to be an expression of authentic culture. I immediately went there when I would come across a video that says, oh, here's the perspective of the Philippines from so-and-so, from an American perspective, from a European. Immediately, I count that out. And the only reason why is oftentimes we have what we call parachute visitors. They come in, get a slice of our culture, and think that they know about their culture. And then they're the ones that verbalize and express what Filipino culture is. So with that said, I really did a very, I would say, stringent curatorship of the videos that I'm going to show you. So to give context, and I'm going to stop my video and give you my slide presentation. But before I do that, Trent, I noticed in the chat that there are some. Oh, okay. I see that you said you're going to share the videos, the link so that.
Yes, I promise I will be multitasking the entire time. No worries.
And I thought you were going to relax. But let me just share with you, and then I will introduce my kababayan. Okay, share, and here. Okay, and here we go. Okay. So why doesn't it start from the slideshow? Here you go, from beginning. Okay, there. So for those who don't know, maybe most of you already know where the Philippines is. It's in Southeast Asia. It's east of Vietnam and Cambodia. It's south of Taipei. It's south also of Japan. It's northeast of Singapore. So that's where we are. And if you can see in the map, we are an archipelago of 7,107 islands, depending on whether it's high tide or low tide. Just a brief depiction of Filipinos. This is as of the Census Bureau in 2018. We have 4 million Filipinos in the United States. And this includes, of course, children of immigrants. Okay, so the total. And Maryland actually is the state, the 11th state that has the largest Filipino population. Obviously, California and Hawaii, Texas are they lead the pack. So immigrants, again, 2018, you can see in 2018 with 2 million immigrants. Okay, again, that does not include your second generation immigrants. These are first generation immigrants. So with that said, I just want to first introduce my kababayans. I have Josie Thompson and Luis Santos. They are both immigrants, and I say kababayans, which means friends or compatriots. We share a common bond in that we're still connected and committed to our motherland, the Philippines. So I would like them to share their stories, their immigrant stories, just again to show the audience how different we all are. We have similar traits, but at the same time we're different. So why don't we start with you, Josie? Tell us your immigrant story.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Marianne, and thanks for doing this. So my immigrant story, I came here when I was 11 in 1971. My dad actually left the Philippines because he was inspired by, there's a lot of, as you know, a lot of Catholics as far as the religion was, and his mentors were like some Jesuit priests from Xavier University, and they talked to him and told him that he should bring his family out to so that they can get to see another I guess have another environment. And my dad wasn't very happy with the environment over there anyway, because he was a businessman and he saw how the corruptness worked. He had to pay people to do business kind of thing, and he just did not like how that made him feel. So that's how I started coming here at 11, and now I've been here since 1971, as I mentioned. So I've been here lots longer than I lived there. But my mom since retired over there, so I do go back. Especially the last few years, I try to go back once a year, except for this past year because of COVID and everything. My mom lives in the beautiful island of Cinnagon. So in the whole archipelago map that you saw, the group of islands that I belong to is the southern one, Mindanao. I was born in Cagayan de Oro City, which is in the northern tip of Mindanao. That's part of the main island, or the main big huge island of Mindanao. But my mom still in Mindanao, but is just in an island within itself on top of the main island, I guess, if that makes sense. So right now I am a Howard County resident. I am a graphic designer. I've lived here since I don't know, for a while now. When we moved, we landed in Montgomery County, but ever since then I've been in Howard County. Let's see, what do I miss most about the Philippines? I just miss, well, of course, with my mom over there, I miss her the most. But just, it's so beautiful in the island that she's at, that even though no matter how my the different times I've visited, in different phases of life, you're sad, you're happy, whatever. But then even the times when I'm there and my soul seems pretty heavy because of the things that are going on, I just look around me and you're like, and I was like, well, Josie, just look around and breathe. It's so beautiful where she's at. It's just surrounded by water. So that's what I miss most about the Philippines. So,
Great. Thank you. Louis, what about you? What's your story?
Yeah, so mabuhay Philippines, mabuhay ladies and gentlemen. So my name is Louis. So I came to the US just recently. I came to the US in 2015, not because I wanna go to school. Most of the Filipinos go to the US because they would like to be a nurse, be a doctor, or be a nanny. In my case, I didn't go here because of those. I went here because I want to be myself. In the Philippines, we don't have the same-sex marriage yet. So I came into the U.S. to marry my at that time my boyfriend, my partner, and then that was it. That was in 2016. We had a holy union in 2012, and then we thought that we're going to be living in the Philippines, but the they do not really recognize same-sex marriage there. So we decided to be, to move here in the U.S. So right now I go to work. I work for a Fortune 500 company since I started working for this company since 2016. I just finished my bachelor's degree last year, and I'm currently taking my MBA classes with the Ashford University. And what I miss about the Philippines is it's a culture. Um, like the US, we have different cultures. We have good and bad cultures. So I miss the being close to our family members. Here in the US, we love spaces. We don't want to be, close to our. We have to have our space. We don't want nosy neighbors, things like that. But in the Philippines, we have those things. I'm not saying that those are bad, but those are just part of our culture, and we like it, and I miss it. I like the um one person said corruption. I noticed that here in the US we also have corruptions, but these are the big time corruptions. We
Yeah.
have corruptions in the Philippines, but it's just that when you go to the DMV, you pay him money, red tape, things like that. So we have I know this we have things like that too, but in the Philippines these are like small portions, small time corruption. So I miss the food. I miss the heat. I don't like the cold in Maryland. The last time I was in the Philippines was in 2018. We planned to go back in 2020 last year, but COVID hit us, so that didn't happen. So yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing, Louis.
Yeah.
It's interesting how we both belong to the board of Katipunan, and I didn't even know your story. But good. I mean, let's say, I mean, it's beginning. We did have a study of immigrants, and I will include you in the future. But thank you for that. Um, okay, so you may be wondering, many of you may actually know. Oh, why isn't it going forward? There. Um, our background, I know you don't see me, but you can see Louis and Josie. Thank you, Josie. She was the one who designed our background. But as you know, as many of you know, our flag is a symbol actually of our identity, our Filipino identity that's separate from the colonizers, meaning from Spain and the US. So if you'll see in this graphic, the white stands for peace and purity, and of course the Katipunan, which was the national organization, the revolutionary group that fought against Spain. And then the three stars represent the three major group of islands, Luzon, Mindanao, and Visayas. And then the sun represents independence and the 8 provinces that led the revolution. And we know that most of the activity actually occurred in Bulacan, Tarlac, Bataan, Cavite, central Luzon. And then, of course, the red represents valor and blood split for freedom and independence, and the blue, patriotism and justice. And most of us know that when we are at peace, the blue side of the flag is up, and then if we're in war, then the red is the one that's up. So let's go then to a brief history of the Philippines. I will show you a video that really depicts where we actually, all the influences from Asia impacted our culture oftentimes. And I showed a slide before in one of my presentations. When you talk about Filipino history, and I remember this when I went to the University of the Philippines, our textbook in Philippine history, we had maybe about 3 pages of, they say, pre-Hispanic. I would rather use the word indigenous history. And then the rest of the book is about the Spaniards and the Americans. And then the republics, the various republics towards the end would take only about 1/8 of the book. So with that said, I really curated and chose this presentation because it gives importance and centers our Asian influences over and above the influences that our colonizers had on us. Okay, let us go and there.
The history of what is today the Philippines started with the arrival of its first humans. It is believed they used rafts or boats around 60,000 years ago, with groups of diverse people settling in the archipelago. Some of these groups started to develop and expand into bigger settlements, and in the next thousands of years, they evolved into what some scholars believe to be considered early states. Austronesians and afterwards speakers of the Malayo-Polynesian languages began to arrive in successive waves beginning about 4000 BC. According to the existing evidence, a jade culture existed in these lands, starting with the Neolithic era. By 1000 BC, it is believed that the inhabitants of the archipelago had developed into 4 distinct kinds of people: tribal groups, warrior societies, the petty plutocracy, and the harbor civilizations. Also important to note is the fact that the metallurgy reached the archipelago due to trade with India. Around 300 to 700 AD, the seafaring people of the islands began to trade with the Indianized kingdoms in the Malay archipelago and the nearby East Asian principalities, adopting influences from both Buddhism and Hinduism. Some cultures of present-day Vietnam showed evidence of an extensive trade network. Artifacts and goods were traded, such as glass, agate, or gold. There were also other items present in the region which were most likely imported, including ear ornaments that have been found in archaeological sites in the Philippines, Thailand, and Taiwan. The Indian culture influenced the Southeast Asian region, starting with the 1st century. During the period of the South Indian Pallava dynasty and the North Indian Gupta Empire, Indian culture spread to Southeast Asia, and it reached the Philippines, which led to the establishment of new kingdoms largely influenced by the Indian culture and traditions. The date inscribed in the oldest Philippine document found so far, the Laguna copperplate inscription, is 900 AD. From the details of the document, written in Kawi script, the bearer of a debt, Namwaran, along with his children, is cleared of a debt by the ruler of Tondo. This is the earliest document that shows the use of mathematics in pre-colonial Philippine societies. A standard system of weights and measures is also demonstrated by the use of precise measurement for gold and other items, as well as in astronomy. From the various Sanskrit terms and titles seen in the document, the culture and society of the Manila Bay were that of Hindu Old Malay amalgamation, similar to the cultures of Java, Peninsular Malaysia, and Sumatra at the time. In the years leading up to 1000, there were already several maritime societies existing in the islands, but there was no unifying political state encompassing the entire Philippine archipelago. Instead, the region was divided into numerous semi-autonomous city-states under the rule of the plutocracy, while a number of states existed alongside the highland societies. These smaller structures alternated between being part of or being influenced by larger Asian empires like Maya Pahit. Around 1225, the nation of Mai, a Buddhist pre-Hispanic Philippine island state centered in Mindoro, flourished, attracting traders and shipping from the kingdom of Ryukyu to the Empire of Japan. Chao Jakua, a customs inspector in Fujian province, China, wrote the description of the barbarous peoples, describing trade with this colonial state. Its people were noted for their honesty in trade. Much of what is now Indonesia was ruled by the Hindu Majapahit Empire. During the 1300s, this empire ruled over Luzon Island and the Sulu archipelago. As more and more influence was on these islands, skirmishes and battles also existed. Some local tribes were waging incessant guerrilla warfare against them. Eventually, the kingdoms of Luzon regained independence from Majapahit after the Battle of Manila, 1365. Sulu also re-established independence, and in vengeance, assaulted the Majapahit province of Brunei before a fleet from the capital drove them out. The start of the Islamic era in Indonesia set the collapse of the Mayapahites as its provinces eventually seceded and became independent sultanates. In 1380, Makdum Karim, an Arab trader born in Johor, arrived in Sulu from Malacca and brought Islam to the Philippines. Additionally, Sharif ul Hashim, an Arab Muslim explorer, established the Sultanate of Sulu by converting its previous ruler, the Hindu king Raja Baguinda, to Islam and then marrying his daughter. The Sultanate of Maguindanao rose to prominence at the end of the 15th century. Meanwhile, the religion was introduced to the area by Muslim missionaries and traders from the Middle East, Indian, and Malay regions who propagated Islam to Sulu and Maguindanao. As before, when Buddhist and Hindu cultures influenced the archipelago, the same case happened with the Muslim culture. Upon the secession of Brunei from the Majapahit Empire, they imported the Arab emir from Mecca, Sharif Ali, and became an independent sultanate. The new religion started to grow roots in the Philippines through conquest and conversion of local leaders in the next decades. Moreover, Islam was further strengthened by the arrival to the Philippines of traders and proselytizers from Malaysia and Indonesia. In 1521, the Spanish reached the archipelago through the expedition around the world led by Portuguese-born Spanish explorer Ferdinand Magellan. Claiming the islands he saw for the Spanish Empire, he established friendly relations with some of the local leaders and converted some of them to Roman Catholicism. Because the Philippines are a large archipelago, the Spaniards started to explore many islands. However, the explorer Ferdinand Magellan was killed during the Battle of Mactan against the local ruler Lapu-Lapu. Over the next several decades, other Spanish expeditions were dispatched to the islands. In 1543, an expedition was led to the islands, naming them Philippines, in honor of Philip of Austria, who became Philip II of Spain on January 16, 1556. The name was then extended to the entire archipelago later on in the Spanish era. European colonization began in earnest when Spanish explorer Miguel López de Legazpi arrived from Mexico in 1565 and formed the first European settlements in Cebu. Through diplomatic and military annexation of some lands, incorporating local states including the Kingdom of Tondo, the Spaniards established Manila as the capital of the Spanish East Indies. In 1578, the Castillan War erupted between the Christian Spaniards and Muslim Bruneians over control of the Philippine archipelago. The Christian troops were so diverse due to generally being made up of people under the Spanish rule, including Native Americans, namely Aztecs, Mayans, and Incans, who were gathered and sent from Mexico and South America to be led by Spanish officers that had worked together with native Filipinos in military campaigns across Southeast Asia. The Muslim side was also very diverse, though. They were supported by the Ottoman Empire, with their troops consisting of Malay warriors and expeditionary forces sent by the Ottomans, which included mainly Turks, Egyptians, Swahilis, Somalis, Indians, and others. The conflict ended with a status quo antebellum. Just 20 years after the conquest of Luzon, remarkable progress existed in the work of colonization of the islands and the spread of Christianity. A cathedral was built in the city of Manila with an episcopal palace. Other monasteries and churches were built across islands, and more people started to convert to Christianity. Furthermore, Spanish and Mexican families settled in the new lands, creating stronger communities. Much of the archipelago came under Spanish rule, creating the first unified political structure known as the Philippines. Spanish colonial rule saw the introduction of Christianity, the code of law, and the oldest modern university in Asia. The Philippines was ruled by the Mexico-based Viceroyalty of New Spain, and after, the colony was directly governed by Spain. Many of the local people revolted in the next centuries due to some abuses made by the Spanish authorities. Their rule ended after the American-Spanish War at the end of the 19th century in 1898. The Philippines became a territory of the United States. The United States then established the insular government to rule the Philippines. In 1907, the elected assembly was set up with popular elections. The U.S. promised independence in the Jones Act to the country, and the Philippine Commonwealth was established in 1935 as a 10-year interim step period to full independence. But before gaining total freedom, in 1942, during World War II, the Philippines was occupied by Japanese forces. By 1945, the U.S. liberated the Philippines, and the Treaty of Manila in 1946 established an independent Philippine Republic. The period of their independence was marked by internal skirmishes and a smaller period of dictatorship, but also huge progress and development, with Manuel Roxas becoming the first president of the Independent Republic of the Philippines. The United States seceded its sovereignty over the Philippines on July 4th, 1946, as scheduled. However, the Philippine economy remained highly dependent on United States markets. Roxas died suddenly of a heart attack in April 1948, and the Vice President Elpidio Quirino ruled the country until 1953. Some communist partisans existed in the islands, but were defeated in the 50s. Additionally, an important event happened in the middle of the 1960s. Ferdinand Marcos took power in 1965 and ruled until 1986. This era included the final years of the Third Republic from 1965 to 1972, and the Philippines under martial law 1972 to 1981. His reign was marked by dictatorship and instability. In 1986, Ferdinand Marcos was removed from power and replaced by Maria Corazon Aquino. Up to the present day, 5 other presidents ruled the Philippines.
So there is a brief history, centuries of colonization, but influences also by our Asian brothers and sisters. So the Okay, so the Philippines, as I mentioned, is an archipelago of approximately 7,107 islands, and its geography shapes its diverse cultures and dialects. So from coastal and seafaring cultures to farming village life to mountain peoples' tribal traditions, the Philippines is a beautiful country with abundant natural resources. So I would like to share with you next a parody of a talented Filipino-Canadian, maybe some of you know him, Mickey Bustos, who has done a great job actually in sharing an authentic description of the Philippines. He has now migrated to the Philippines from Canada and has established his household there. Just note, and he says this very, very, very well, but we don't have the letter F in our language. And so instead of F, we use P. So instead of saying Philippines, we say Philippines, or sometimes we say, instead of fish, we say fish. And you're going to see that in his video. Also, we don't have the letter V. So we say B instead of V. So instead of saying vacation, we say vacation. So here is Mickey Bustos. Oh, wait.
So I was thinking, let's go on a vacation trip, you and me together. Where? Paris, Cancun, South Africa, Philippines, where my parents are from. Huh? Philippines? Is that like China? Is it nice? China? Oh, is it nice? Wow, I'm a princess. So come with me, step on our magic banig, and let's discover the whole new world that is the Philippines. All right. Hold on. Ooh. I can show you Pinas. What's Pinas? Short for Philippine Islands. From the beaches to highlands, there's so much to see. Here's terraces of roots. In Banawe, it's so cold. Now we fly over full chocolate. Here starshers make eyes. Bahay pupos made of bamboo. I'm like a butterfly, so sticky. Seasons are hot, hottest. Such a paradise, so beautiful. Tropical paradise and handsome guys. What is this egg disguise selling to this seas? Full of beautiful corals, gorgeous caves and volcanoes. Dark at 6 p.m. The sunset rock on the station. Silence for voices. To share feelings with you. So I smile. It's been no time, just don't do drugs. You can't hurt.
I hope you enjoyed that. I would like to also share another video with you. This is a landscape that has been considered a UNESCO site, a world-renowned UNESCO site, and it's the terraces, Ifugao terraces. And of course, I'm biased. I'm from Baguio, so that's what I'm going to show. So
this living cultural landscape is nestled into the remote slopes of the Cordillera mountain range in the Philippines. For 2,000 years, the mountains of Ifugao province have been cultivated with terraced rice fields that stretch thousands of feet high. They serve as an example of sustainable agriculture with traditional techniques. These emerald fields and the knowledge to farm them have been passed down from generation to generation for centuries. They've long been central to the survival of the Ifugao people, and they also hold great cultural significance. Entire communities cooperate on seasonal systems of planting, pest control, and harvest. These coordinated efforts are tied to lunar cycles and sometimes accompanied by religious rituals. The UNESCO site encompasses 5 different clusters of rice terraces in the area. The Banaue rice terraces are the most famous of the lot. Banaue is about 230 miles north of Manila, and buses depart daily from the capital. It can take up to 10 hours to drive up the mountainous terrain to the rice fields. If you take a guided hiking tour, make sure to pack a picnic for an outstanding view of this remarkable landscape.
So our cultural dances depict the influences of multiple cultures spread out in the archipelago. I will focus more on indigenous dances than those depicted by colonized forms of movement based on Spanish dominance. Indigenous dances from the Cordillera region in northern Luzon, the mountainous regions are rich in metal resources as depicted in the bronze or brass gongs, or what we call ganza. This is a dance that depicts the warrior nature of many of our mountain tribes, and the banga, which means pots. These pots are used to fetch water from the wells. So here's one of our indigenous dances. Ooh. Nope, sorry. Nope. I'm going back. There. Oops. Okay, so wasn't that impressive? And just the music. I know some of you are not able to hear, but Trent has the link on the chat that you can click. So again, very, very impressive dance. Just a personal note, I remember I belonged to several dance troupes as well, and all I could do was 3 pots. But can you believe it? The women had 12 pots on their head. And so very, very impressive. Now in Southern Philippines, this is an example Another example of an indigenous dance that was influenced by both Indian and Muslim cultures. It depicts a clear hierarchy of roles in a nobility structure. And oftentimes we Filipinos think that this is just a Muslim dance. And when I did my research, I found out that it started when our national dance troupe called Bayanihan Dance Troupe in the 50s or 60s went abroad, and they described this mainly as a Muslim dance. But when you look at the various aspects of the dance, it indeed has Hindu and Indian influences. So here is the Muslim dance, Sinkil. Muslim Indian. So that's the Singkil. Many of you have seen that. We also have other cultural dances. Oh, okay. We also have other cultural dances influenced by Spanish form and movement. And the dancers' attires, as you can see, depict European design. So these are just some pictures of Cariñosa, and then we have the Maria Clara, Polka Bal, Paseo de Iloilo. So even the titles of these dances are very Spanish. There you go. It shows again the European influence on our dances. There are also local dances that reflect the agrarian nature of village life. Many of these dances follow the planting and harvest seasons. A lively atmosphere of revelry, celebration, and gratitude embodies the spirit of Filipino community. So here's your binasuan, you have a sayaw sa bangko, tinikling. Most of you know what the tinikling is. So those are again the various influences of cultures on our dances. The Filipino culture can also be expressed not only through performing arts, but also through tattoo design. Another way to center indigenous cultures over the colonized cultures is to celebrate local artists. Here is an example of a 101-year-old woman who is considered a national artist. She was given the title of Dangal ng Haraya Lifetime Achievement Award by the National Commission for Culture and the Arts. Okay, so Filipino food. How can we talk about the culture without talking about food, right? So here's a video about our various food. And Josie, be ready. I want to ask you, what's your favorite Filipino dish and when was the last time you had it? So be ready. Here's another, oops. Oh gosh, here we go.
Welcome back once again to howtocookgreatfood.com. Chef June is about to take you on a journey looking at all aspects of Filipino food. Let's go.
Sinigang na bangus or milk fish in sour broth is an all-time favorite dish of Filipinos. The sour taste of tamarind or sampalok in Tagalog gives the distinctive taste of the broth. There are many ways of cooking this dish. You can use pork or chicken, even a shrimp or prawns. This is absolutely delicious. Bistec is a Filipino style of beef steak made from thinly sliced beef and marinated with soy sauce, calamansi juice, and onion ring. Cooked with the marinade and some water. This is so yummy. Adobong pusit is a fresh and tasty squid dish cooked using the popular Filipino adobo method. Squid is simmered with onion, garlic, vinegar, squid ink, and soy sauce. The cooking time is 30 minutes maximum. Leche flan, the Filipino version of creamy caramel, made with egg yolks, evaporated milk, sweetened condensed milk, brown sugar as a syrup, and vanilla extract. This is popular Pinoy dessert that has thick custard covered in runny caramel. This is super yummy. Sinigang again, but this time with pork, or as we say, baboy. By tradition, the souring ingredients of this dish comes from a tamarind fruit. If there was one dish that I could eat every day, it would be sinigang. Camarón rebusado is a deep-fried buttered shrimp dish in Philippine cuisine, typically served with sweet and sour sauce. It is similar to Japanese tempura, although tempura uses a lighter butter. Pigeon belly is a roasted pig, slowly cooked over charcoal heat. The crispiness of its skin is one of the best features of roasted pig. Lechon is known for their spices and herbs, particularly the combination of lemongrass, leeks, salt, pepper, and garlic as stuffing inside the pig's belly. This is so crispy.
So yes, I am hungry now. So Josie, what is your favorite dish?
Well, you know me, I don't cook. So actually, you know, when I'm in the Philippines, I just love how it's so fresh. So pretty much any fish could do anything. And, you know, and when you have the lechon in front of you, you know, I mean, and I love anything ube. I love ube. And so, yeah, if I had to pick, I guess
Yeah.
that is.
Yeah, I love the chicharron.
Oh
Chicharron
my gosh.
bakla. Oh my gosh, that's so good with San Miguel beer. But anyway, okay, let's move on to Filipino immigrations. So, the third wave of Filipino immigrants after World War II um, came here because of the United States needing or desiring people with technical and professional skills. And so medical doctors or nurses and health practitioners came during the third wave. I did come during the third wave as well because they did emphasize education. And so I came here to do my PhD. So I would like to show, many of you may know who he is. He's a Filipino comedian, Joe Coy, and he talks about nurses. Now, I just want to warn you that there are a lot of swear words. So if you want to mute it, that's fine. Don't mind. So here's Joe Coy.
Shit on my dream. Yo, I'm telling you this, man. I became a comedian, which is totally against the grain when you have a Filipino mom. If you have a Filipino mom, that is not the career choice you're supposed to have. Filipino moms predetermine what their kids are supposed to be when they grow up. And you know I'm not making this shit up. There's a lot of Filipinos in here right now that are nurses. Today is a good day to get injured at a show. Because there will be a nurse in here like, oh my God, put a cold compress on the head. Elevate the feet, elevate the feet. Elevate, what the fuck is elevate? It's just lift. Lift the fucking feet. Are you stupid? And I'm not, hey, look, I'm not shitting on you for being a nurse. That's a great job, great benefits, good money. I'm just saying, it wasn't your dream. That was your Filipino mom's dream. My mom wanted me to be a nurse. Are you fucking kidding me? Filipino moms shit on their kids' dreams. And you know I'm not lying. You know I'm not lying. You can't have a dream. What are you talking about, dream? I told my mom I wanted to be a comedian. She cried. Why? Why do you want to be a comedian, Joseph? All your aunties are nurses? Your cousins are nurses? Do you see any clowns in this family? I go, do you? Shit on my dream right there. Just looked at me and went like this. Joseph, I told you were funny. But you trusted me? That's fucked up. I'm just saying, you're a nurse, God bless you. But you know there's some nurses out there that didn't follow their dreams. There's some nurses working at the hospital that wish they were a Jabberwocky. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, follow me to the x-ray. I'll follow you. God damn, that nurse can dance. It was always my dream. My mother did not believe in me. It's either nurse or mailman. Mailman's another strong option. Oh shit. My mom cried and even suggested, Joseph, be a mailman. Your uncles are mailman. Your cousins, they're mailman. My stepdad, he's white. He's a fucking mailman. I asked him, I go, Brett, why'd you become a mailman? He's like, your mama told me to become a mailman. She shit on my dreams. She shit on my dreams. I came home from school and my mom had my uncle come over and talk to me about getting into the post office. That's all, right? It's fucked up, right? Come home from school and here's my uncle. And by the way, my uncle is one of those Filipinos that hide their accents. Like he's got a thick accent, but he likes to hide the accent because he doesn't want anyone to think that he has an accent. And it just ends up sounding like a worse accent. He sounds like a Filipino Elvis. And I came home, I came through the door, and he got up and he's like, hey, Joseph, let me talk to you for a second. Like, here you want to be a commission? Like, what the fuck did you just say? Filipino moms, stop turning into Filipino moms. I can guarantee you right now, there's a ton of Filipinos in here, but I can tell you this right now, I don't know any of you, but if you met my mom, I guarantee she looks just like your mom. Identical fucking twins. I can just cut from the same cloth. I don't know what it is about Filipino women. They're beautiful at the age of 20, but right when they hit 69, they all morph into the same Filipino woman. Short hair, glasses, Louis Vuitton purse. Where are we? Shut down, more chica.
Okay, so we're gonna get contemporary now, and Josie is unfortunately Louis had to leave. Josie, what did you think about that? And then I will show two more clips, and maybe we can have a conversation with the audience.
Yeah, that was hysterical. I guess I don't know. Did you find that true with your parents, Marianne?
Kinda. They didn't tell me exactly what to do, but
Yeah.
they wanted us to get a good education, and a good education means coming to the United States and pursuing a graduate degree.
Yeah, I knew college was definitely a thing. They never pushed
Oh,
me.
yeah.
I think because they were like business people. They had businesses in the Philippines, so
Yeah.
that was kind of but definitely if I chose to be a doctor, I'm sure they would have been super happy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was funny.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll I'll show two more clips. One is Happy Slip. I don't know if some of you have heard her. She's another very funny person. Whoops. No, I'm going back again. There.
My mom has started something new with her morning routine. Yeah, sure you have the same old breakfast. Let me finish making this spam first. Why don't you eat quacker? You want quacker? Let me give you quacker. You want quacker? How many times do I have to tell her it's not quacker, it's Quaker oats. Quaker oats. Oh, no, Mom, just one egg. One egg. Huh? Oh, okay. No, okay, just two spam. Just. Huh? Then every morning she'll find a way to save some money in the strangest of ways. You can really save money this way. Double your paper towel, double your money. She never fails to get in that daily beauty tip. Never mind, it's been the same tip for the last how many years. You want to have good skin? 8 glasses of water a day. That is good. You know, Brooke Shields drinks 8 glasses of water a day. Very good to your skin. So the new thing to her routine now is brushing her teeth in the kitchen. And I've kind of gotten used to the sight of it, but I've never asked her why. So, Mom, why do you brush your teeth in the kitchen? Why? Huh? Why not have that? Oh, I remember now why I brush my teeth in the kitchen. Because in the bathroom, when you flush the toilet, the mist from the toilet might go to your toothbrush. I don't think that's good for your toothbrush. The mist? You're scared of the mist? Oh, that is so ridiculous. I'm out of here. I'm gonna go get ready.
Okay, and then the last video, oops, is Jokoy again and his thing about rice. Okay, well, thank you so much. I would like to open the I would like to open the floor to a conversation with everyone who wants to say something. So,
Oh man, that was really funny.
wasn't that?
I also was just I'm like actually tearing up. I'm just recognizing also how similar like older Black culture is as well. It was just that was great. That was really great. All right, so I'm gonna fade into the background. I'm gonna be the one that is looking at the chat. So if you have any questions or comments, I'll be making sure that we get to them. And you all can see them as well. So if you want to field them, you can do the same.
Okay.
That was so funny, Marianne.
That's so true. That's how I was taught the rice. It's
I know, me too, but I still did it wrong though. I'm like, because we had to always cook a ton, you know. Like,
oh yeah.
So.
Yeah, not good for our diabetes, but rice. Yeah.
How a picky eater as a kid? I mean, spam and corned beef are pretty much the only things I would eat with the rice, and patis and lard. You know, patis and lard.
Oh, yeah, patis and rice. I remember patis and rice was so good. Yeah. So, any questions or things that you want to contribute about your experience in terms of Filipino culture and how you were raised and things like that, what you miss most? I'm talking to the attendees.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw Jade had mentioned that she actually had to dance one of those video dances that you had shown when she was a kid. And I did comment before coming, you know how each grade would have like, you know, they have a program at the end of the year, or whatever, and the quadrangle or whatever. And so those were the dances. The one with, you said the high shows the hierarchy. Those are the kind of dances we did.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. I what I miss are the really fun dances like the sayaw sa bangko and all that.
You knew how to do that? You knew how to dance that?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
I had to learn that as part of because I was part of several dance troops.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
Yeah. So anybody in the audience who would like to share about your experience? Oh, you can't.
Oh, except Jade says she can't unmute her. Yeah.
Oh,
I don't,
Oh.
yeah, I think, Jade, maybe if you put it in the chat, your question or your comment, and we'll read it or something. I don't know. Trent, is there anything you can do about that? Can you open them all up?
Yes,
I don't know.
actually.
I
So
don't
hold
know
on
how,
one
but
second. I can, let me see what I can do. So there's a couple of
thank
things,
you.
a couple of options. Hold on
Okay.
one second. It was Jade?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Jade, you should be able to speak now. Or you should be able to unmute now.
Hello?
Oh,
Yeah,
yay,
good.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. Good job. Really, I mean, amazing. I learned so much. I think my favorite part really was the brief history video because I really didn't know a lot of that. And I already want to watch it again. Just, I like history, so
Oh, yeah.
thank you for sharing that.
Sure. And again, I really curated it very well because we were taught that history started when actually the Spaniards came. And that's why, our minds were very, very colonized with Spain, and anything white is better, Mm. So that's just part of the decolonization process that I think all of us should engage in. But yeah,
Yeah, I think I told Ayala, they had that gold exhibition. Like before I saw that gold, before I saw that, you're right. Like I didn't think, like we had any kind of, or didn't learn much about any kind of civilization that we, or form of, whatever, as before the Spaniards came or whatever. You think everyone's kind of like just lapu-lapu out hanging around, like, in the whatever, but no, I mean, they had gold, they were, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And especially where I come from, Baguio, the mountains. I mean, our resources there. We had gold. In fact, I worked for a mining company as a planner there.
Right, yeah.
But so gold, copper, all that. We were so rich. We were. There are a lot of those mines are closed now. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey, Trent, did you see Jennifer Maranya said she would like to share something?
Yes, definitely. I was just waiting for you all to give me the cue.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
And Christine has a question as well.
Well, I just want to say thank you for putting that all together and being able to just capture so much of our beautiful culture and heritage. I wanted to add that, the Spanish colonists actually, or the Spaniards actually called the Filipinos pintados. And I'm glad you brought up the tattoo piece too, because the Filipinos were so, with all the tattoos, the idea of pintados means painted, right? And so I thought that was such an interesting term because we don't often, at least for me, I've never thought of tattooing as a Filipino art and his historical piece until until the last few years learning more about it. And so just really fascinating history with that.
Yeah.
Hey, Jen, I remember when you had a thing with the cultural school, and you had that woman come in and do that.
Yeah, she did.
That?
Yeah, it was amazing. And that I learned a lot from her when she was tattooing her husband. Very, in a very traditional way. Nothing electric, just just what she had. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like a needle on a hammer thing.
Basically. But anyway, I just thank you all. This was really great.
Yeah, welcome. Thank you. So Christine, are there any cultural programs here in Maryland that teach Filipino culture or dances?
I also want to mute you, Christine, if you would like to add anything to that. Or you have the ability to unmute, sorry.
Maryland for a while, and I haven't, I know that in Prince George's County, they have more Filipinos, but I wanted to see if there's anything. I'm in Howard County, if there's anything this area. I'm Korean, my husband's Filipino, so, we teach him a lot about the Korean culture and Filipino culture, but I would love to, get more enrichment on that.
Yeah, that's a good question because I know, and again, I was in Georgia many years as well, so I'm not so sure if it was in Maryland or Georgia where there were summer camps. I know in Michigan where I went to school, we did have summer camps for families who wanted to know more about the culture. Um, but here, I'm not sure if there's anything.
Yeah, I don't know if I know Katipunan has done like a few like a day like a weekend here and there before COVID. Jen, I don't know if you can still mute yourself, but like, do you guys have any plans for everybody? Jennifer Maranya is the current president of Katipunan. Do you guys have any plans on doing anything like that again?
Not definitively just yet. Now that things are opening back up, we will actually bring up the conversation. But I think throughout COVID, especially, it was just not. We weren't going to do anything. But yeah, no, we had a great time doing it before, so we'll have to revisit.
Yeah, yeah. That's something, as Jade said, that's something that Katipunan can do. But you know where I think we need to also put attention on are the second generation immigrants. Those who were born here, like you guys, Jen. But and you said it very well in one of our conversations that it doesn't seem like you have enough cultural foundation to even shape your identity as a Filipino. And that really touched me because it's like we take our knowledge of Filipino culture for granted because we were born there. I came here when I was 25 years old. So, I'm really embedded in the culture, but those who grew up here, are struggling to really, kind of mold their identity. So I think we do also need to reach out to Filipino Americans here.
Yeah. Well, that was interesting about the cultural school and partially why we created it. The parents would send their kids and they would stay and we would learn too. So to be honest, yes, it was for our kids, but it was also for us. I mean, we learned so much in the process and we were pretending like it was really for our kids.
You did a great job of that, Jen. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, you guys did. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so anything else? Josie, thank you very much for agreeing.
Oh, no. I'm glad to support. I'm happy to support. And if anyone wants to, I think Christine was saying she's in Howard County. I am in Howard County, Christine. If you ever want to reach out, we could go drive to some Filipino, little restaurants, whether in Beltsville or DC or Baltimore,
I'll invite myself. I want to eat. And Trent will come with us too.
Yeah. There's actually, and Christine, there is I mean, you probably know, but anyway, just FYI, like I didn't meet too many Filipinos around here either. So we actually went up to, oh my gosh, she just wrote Timbang Gabi. They actually do some kind of that thing like that too around here. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So definitely Christine, if I don't know if I think you know people from the Katipunan, right? So that you have somebody's address, like Jen and all them knows you or something. But anyway, if you don't, reach out to them and email them so they get you on your list so they can send you all the stuff that they do. So
yeah, and just to end it, and this is also a conversation with Trent. The thing is, we are all interconnected. Right now, my area of research is the intersection of African American heritage and Filipino, and I'm presenting a paper in West Virginia, the Black History Institute there. Because did you know that some of the educators that came to the Philippines when the Americans imperialized us were Black teachers? And in fact, Woodson, who is the father of Black History Month, was the education supervisor in the Philippines at that time. So I'm trying to get his archives. And the Buffalo Soldiers, they were in the when they were in the Philippines, they also, many of them actually sided with the revolutionists. So some of them stayed and helped the revolutionists in terms of their tactics and all that, because they were trained here in the United States. So they trained the local like Aguinaldo and all that. So we are so interconnected. So just FYI. And of course, Korea and all these
And the Jewish, the people
Yes.
during, we harbored a bunch of people during the Nazi time when they are all that stuff. So we're just kind of welcoming happy people. What can I say?
Yeah. True. Well,
I just
thank you so
unmuted.
much.
I just unmuted Jennifer again.
Oh, okay.
Great. Thanks, Trent. So, for those of you that have maybe joined us in the past, every June, Katipunan hosts the Filipino Festival at the Maryland Fairgrounds. This year, because of COVID, and I know things are starting to open up, but for June for this year, we're going virtual. So please join. We'll send information out. If you're not already on our mailing list, send katipunanmd@gmail.com. Send us a message. It's KATIPUNANMD@gmail.com, and we can add you to our mailing list and make sure that you get the information. But it's going to be on weekends, virtual in June. But stay tuned, because next June we're going to bring it. We'll be back at the fairgrounds and look forward to celebrating our culture with all of you.
Yeah.
And I think they can also follow you on Insta and Facebook, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you all. I really, really appreciate just the amount of wealth of knowledge, of passion, and just essentially giving us a chance to actually lean into our collective humanity. I think that, I know from a personal standpoint, that's something that I feel divinely connected to. And I think that as a county in general, and I know from a Howard County government standpoint, this is what we want to move into. And so I appreciate every person being present, which is different than being here. And a special shout out to our amazing presenters. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I cannot honor you enough, seriously. Again, this is recorded, so if you have a desire to go back and watch anything, we will be curating a resource list with all of the different sessions, because again, remember, this is one session out of a greater event. And then also all of the links will be also connected onto a resource sheet as well for the videos. And so at this time, I want to leave us on a closing and say thank you again. I appreciate you. Again, this is Trent Hall from the Office of Human Rights and Equity. I'm the Community Outreach Supervisor. I put my email in the chat, so if there's anything that you need, any of the information from this, please email me, thall@howardcountymd.gov. Super simple, thall@howardcountymd.gov. If there's anything that you need.
Thanks so much for doing this, Trent. I mean, this
is thank you.
Of course. And you all have a beautiful night and enjoy your evening.
Okay, bye everyone.
Bye. Thanks, Miriam.
Thanks,
Trent.
thank you.
Thanks, everybody.